Thank you for joining us as we elevate the Black entrepreneur experience by interviewing CEOs, thought leaders, innovative thinkers, and Black entrepreneurs across the globe. I'm your host, Dr. Frances Richards. Our next guest is the host of the Girl with the Purple Hair Talks. She's empowering women all around the world to be the best entrepreneur they can be. We welcome to the mic master business builder, master coach, and podcast host, Angie Glitter.
Good morning. Thank you for having me, Dr. Richards.
I've given our audience such a brief bio. Why don't you fill in the gaps and share with our audience what you want them to know about you and your business?
Sure. Thank you so much. As Dr. Richards says, I am Angie Glitter and I am a master coach. And I truly believe that female entrepreneurs are the leading force behind worldwide change and innovation. And I will move mountains to help female entrepreneurs succeed because I'm so passionate about women earning their worth, being treated with dignity and respect, and then being honored for the people that they are. And I, my philosophy is we always have to have fun, while we're learning, because that is the key to transformational change. So what I do is I walk my clients through the M3 program, which is mind, motivation, and mission. And it is a step-by-step process to help professional coaches take their businesses to the next level, increasing their retention rate so that they can spend more time coaching and less time and money acquiring clients, because coaches start their businesses to coach, and all the other stuff just kind of comes along with the territory, but they really want to coach whenever they start a coaching business. I'm from Northeast Ohio and I live in Amish country. Um, and I've been an entrepreneur for 10 years and I'm a best-selling author. And I also have a master's degree in organizational leadership. So that's a little bit about me.
Angie, talk about your journey. How did you get here finding that aha moment that that's what you should do and be?
Yes, thank you. So back in 2013, I was actually working in the nonprofit world and I was onboarding a new hire for the program that I was managing. And at that point, I had had 18 years of experience with this company. And I found out that the CEO offered a gentleman who was fresh out of college and no experience $3,000 a year more than what I was making. And I went to the CEO and I said, I'm not okay with this. And he looked me dead square in the face and said, that's all you're worth. And of course, I got taken back a little bit by that and said some coarse, unprofessional words. And I decided that never again, like no one will ever tell me that's all you're worth again. And I never want another human to ever feel what I felt on that day. So I have made it my mission to, especially for women, to earn their worth, because that was pretty terrible experience. I started my business in 4 days after that experience, and I haven't looked back since. And it's been such a learning journey, but I wouldn't go back for anything.
And how did you raise capital to fund your business?
I was actually self-funded, and this was because I started my business in 4 days. My husband and I didn't have a lot of time to discuss how we were going to do this. And so we had some money in our savings account. And my husband said, I believe in you. I believe in your mission. And if anybody can do this, you can. So we chose to self fund. It was difficult. I need to be perfectly honest about that. And there were times when I did consider going more of a route of talking with a bank and getting a business loan to help with operating costs and that type of thing. But then I learned that women and other minorities are only funded about 2% of the time whenever they ask for capital from a bank. And I said, why would I do all of the work that's necessary that they require and have a 2% chance of actually getting funded? So I just chose to bootstrap, but I have since made it my mission because I'm so passionate about people just being able to earn their worth and always be treated with dignity and respect, that I have challenged, and PNC Bank is the bank that I bank at, and they have since started a 257 initiative. And I'm not a paid spokesperson or anything, but I'm so proud of how my voice has pushed an organization, a national organization, to make changes. And so they have a specific 257 program for funding for women. And then they have also partnered with Coralus, which is a worldwide organization who is out there doing amazing things for women and non-binary people, offering them grants so that they can fund their businesses. And I'm also proud to be a volunteer for Coralus, because I just know capital is such a struggle for entrepreneurs.
Fill in the blank. Thank you, Corliss, because.
Because for one, you care, and everyone is treated with dignity and respect. Even if they're not funded, they still have access to resources, and people like myself who volunteer there are always there to answer questions, to provide no charge mentorship, guidance, advice, anything like that. um, yeah, thank you, Corliss, for genuinely caring and furthering the mission of ensuring that women and non-binary people have access to all the things they need so that they can be the most successful entrepreneur that they can be.
You talked about bootstrapping your business and doing a day quit. Would you recommend someone take that route?
It's not for the faint of heart. I would say you need a little bit more preparation than that. Um, I am just by nature, I'm a risk taker. Like, I've jumped out of an airplane, I whitewater raft, I zip line from very high places. So I'm a huge risk taker. But what I did really, honestly, wasn't the right way to start a business, in my opinion. It just happens to be my story. But I really encourage other people who are in that situation or considering starting a business. You need more than 4 days to really figure it all out, because I struggled, and that was and I struggled. The first 2 years of my business were really rocky. And it is because I started my business in haste and I didn't get the foundation right. And it took me about 2 years to do that. It doesn't always take 2 years to lay a good solid foundation for entrepreneurship. That happens to be my story.
What is your zone of genius, Angie?
My zone of genius is helping people to become limitless. That is one of the gifts that I have been given by the good Lord, and I share that gift freely. I work with people literally all over the world, and I don't believe in finish lines, because a finish line means you're done. And to me, the only finish line is death. And so becoming limitless means there's nothing stopping you. There's nothing stopping you. If there are obstacles like people saying no, banks turning you down, a client, your dream client doesn't want to do business with you, that's an opportunity to learn, for one, and grow, for two, and then stretch your limits. you are limit I believe all of us are limitless if we just do the work to get our minds in the place to truly believe that, because then we can move mountains with our pinky. And that is really my zone of genius, is showing people how they can become limitless.
There are so many brands and businesses that are dominating. Talk about a brand or a business that's dominating that you admire and why.
There are just so many. A few that come to mind are Colleen Biggs. She's actually, if you look at us on paper, she's actually a competitor of mine. However, she is a rock star who I just admire and adore and learn from on a regular basis. She just has such a passion. And I think our values are very similar. And I think that's why she resonates with me, because she genuinely has a passion for helping people to succeed. And she will move mountains as well to help people succeed, no matter what that looks like. She's definitely one that I just absolutely admire. And then Patrick Lencioni is another person who I admire. And what I admire about him the most is his authenticity. He doesn't always have the most popular opinion, but he's always true to himself. And that's how I live my life, is I'm a person of authenticity and integrity, and I can't operate outside of that, because when I do, things fall apart. And although I've not met Patrick Lencioni, I would love the opportunity. So if anybody on his team is listening, I would love the opportunity to meet him. But I just, his authenticity, and just being unapologetically him, is somebody who I definitely admire.
Angie, talk to a younger you. What advice would you give to a younger you?
The advice I would give to the younger me is to don't listen to the voices in your head. They're not true. The messages aren't true. All of the self-limiting beliefs, the doubt, the imposter syndrome, it's not true. And it took me until I was about 36 years of age to understand that those messages come from the external. And just because they come from the external doesn't make them true. It's what I believe about myself is what the truth is. And so I hid the gift of limitlessness from myself for years, because I had external forces telling me I wasn't good enough, I wasn't going to amount to anything, you're not lovable, all the different negative messages. And sadly, I had believed those for many years, but not anymore.
I want you to have a monologue. I want you to name this person, living or not. They've inspired you so much. What are you saying to that person, and who is that person?
So that, hands down, that person would be my father. His name is Jim Gosser, and hands down, he is my hero. He has inspired me, encouraged me, been my biggest cheerleader, kicked me in the butt when I needed kicked in the butt. And at times, our biggest cheerleaders, they're really, really great. But if they're not being super raw and super honest with us, they're really not serving the best purpose. They're not serving us in the best way. And he isn't afraid to just be honest with me and say, Angie, I think you missed the mark there, or you didn't show up authentically, or something along those lines. And he challenges my thinking. And I just love, admire, and respect that. And the other thing is he practices what he preaches. He doesn't expect me to do anything that he's not living himself. And I just love, admire, and respect that.
Angie, you've been in the game for a minute and you have many amazing stories. And so we hate to single out one, but I want you to single out one that just shows the level of the your style of coaching.
Sure. So I would like to share the story of her name is Lori, and she had crippling imposter syndrome. And she wanted more than anything to become a successful entrepreneur, but the voices in her head were telling her she wasn't good enough, she wasn't smart enough, no one would listen to what she has to say, she wasn't a person of value, or any of all the negative messages. And I sat her down, and it took her probably a year before she actually even had the courage to coach with me. And it scared her out of her mind to the tune of she was physically shaking because she just was so afraid of not being successful. And not only did she fear failure, she feared success because she didn't know what she didn't know. And learning and unlearning was absolutely terrifying to her. And so, week after week, month after month, we walked through a series of mindset exercises, and I called them mindset challenges, to where an intruding thought would come in and she would immediately replace it. And it takes a lot of practice. And we would do, I mean, she would, if you're a visual learner, this is a good technique to use. Put sticky notes on your mirror, or around your computer or your desk, or on the steering wheel of your vehicle, or, whatever, those positive affirmations of you are worthy, you are enough, you are lovable, you are a person of value. All of those things matter. And in time, and it did take time, it took her about a year, she slowly started to unbreak the chain of that crippling imposter syndrome. And I gave her a challenge to go live, to literally tell the world about her entrepreneurial journey and what she had to offer to the world. And she cried. She said, I can't do that. And I said, Lori, I am going to be right there with you. I literally went to her home. Now, this was pre-COVID. So, and she was local, but now I coach women from all over the world. But I literally went to her home and I sat beside her and I walked her through going live on Zoom, holding her hand, showing her, actually breathing with her, because when we get anxious and nervous and scared, we don't breathe with our whole body like we're supposed to, which creates barriers in our mind. And we just walked through it. And I think her first live was about 5 minutes because that was all she could manage. But what a win! What a phenomenal win. And of course, we celebrated that and we unpacked what it felt like before, during, and after. I actually have a degree. One of my degrees is in social work. So I have a real strong background in understanding psychology and human emotion and thought processes. And we just unpacked all of that. And I was able to push her just enough in a way that was as comfortable for her as she would allow me to push her, to break that. And now she is doing lives 3, 4, 5 times a week with such confidence. They are now much longer. She's providing so much value to her loyal super fans. And I continue to, even though she has done coaching with me, I still go on, and occasionally I watch some of her lives, cheer her on, support her, celebrate with her. Um, I'm so proud of her. Like, it almost brings me to tears how proud I am of her and the work that she did. I was merely there to guide her. She's the one who really did the hard work.
That is an amazing story. Thank you for sharing. Speaking of wins, let's take a snapshot of the last 30 days. What was your biggest win?
My biggest, this one's actually pretty easy as it only happened a week ago. I was actually onboarding a new coaching client, and she was very transparent with me, saying she was really torn between myself and another coach. And I said, you have to make the decision that's best for you. You really need to feel into it. And if I'm not the coach for you, I get it. Like, I'm not the coach for everyone. And there's so many coaches, amazing coaches out there. And I wished her, like, you need to find the best coach for you. She was actually kind of surprised that I said that. And and she said, literally, it was like down to the time when she was going to pay. And she said, you know what, Angie, I decided to go with another coach. And I wished her nothing but success. I even followed that up with an email, and I said, please, I said, I want to celebrate with you, share some wins with me along the way. I provided her some questions to ask her coach. And I said, look, this will help you have a more robust engagement with the coach that you have chosen. I gave her some questions to answer. And she was like, thank you so much. And she said, I wish I had the money to work with both of you. And I'm like, you know what? You have to do what's best for you. And I totally understand that. So about 2 weeks later, I just sent her a little message and I said, hey, look, I'm thinking of you. I want to celebrate a win with you. By now, you've at least had one win in your coaching journey. And she was like, oh my gosh, that's so amazing. And she actually asked me a question. So I answered the question, provided her a resource. Didn't hear from her for a couple of weeks until last week. She reached out to me and said, hey, can I get the link to jump on your calendar? And I was like, well, absolutely. I would love to do that. And she said, I think I chose the wrong coach first. So, um, but it just goes to show, like, still loving up the people who have been presented to you in your life, and nurturing them and celebrating with them. It just is, to me, that is just so important. And building those, I would rather have someone become a loyal super fan in my life than someone who's just going to, be a one and done and bounce in and bounce right back out. And I think my actions have created a loyal super fan.
That's awesome. Thank you for that. Speaking of coaching, and you're correct. There are a lot of coaches out there. And I appreciate you saying that you have to find what works best for you. Talk about vetting a coach.
Yes, you absolutely, when you are considering working with a coach, no matter what type of coach it is, you really have to find out, for one, what is their experience? Do they have any credentials, certifications, college education, experience? What qualifies them to be able to coach you in whatever it is that you are desiring coaching? Then you also want to ask them, what is their success rate, and give examples, being able to provide those, so that social proof, those testimonials and case studies. I actually prefer case studies over testimonials, because it's one thing for somebody to say, oh, it was so great coaching with you, Angie. That's a great testimonial, but I want the case study. Like, Lori wrote me, and it's right on my website. She actually wrote her own case study. Before I started working with Angie, I had crippling imposter syndrome. She walks through some of the steps that we did during coaching together. And then she talks about where she is today. And so those are the types of things that you really want to look at. You want to look at, do your values match? If you are someone who is of a specific religion and your coach is someone who is opposed to that religion or has some biases or preconceived notions or judgments about that religion, perhaps that's not the coach for you. If you have those competing values that just don't match, perhaps that's not the coach for you. You also have to look at, how much do I trust this person and what's their guarantee? Like I have a 12-month money back guarantee, meaning 12 months after the day of our last service together, I will guarantee that you will continue to have results for the following 12 months. And if you don't, I will gladly give you 100% of your money back. And some people say that is absolutely an unheard of guarantee. Well, I back up what I do. I say what I do. I deliver on what I say I'm going to deliver on. And in 10 years, no one has ever asked me for a refund. And so what is their guarantee? What type of results are they going to guarantee? And if they can't guarantee their results, oh, perhaps that's not the person that you want to invest in, because it really is an investment. It's a time investment, it's an emotional investment, and it's a financial investment. And you're sharing intimate details of your life, your business, or whatever it is that you're seeking coaching on. And so it's truly an investment. And so if they can't guarantee your investment, that perhaps is a red flag that you might want to be seeking another coach.
Who is your ideal client?
My ideal client is someone who's ready to roll up their sleeves and do the work. My program is only successful if you do the work. I can't do the work for you. I don't, I'm not in your mind. I'm not in your business. So you're the one who has to do the work. So I love doers. I love action takers, and, women who are just so passionate about becoming limitless because they may only believe that they're limitless like 1%, but they want to believe that they are limitless. They know that there's a better way out there. That, yes, does imposter syndrome still creep up? Even in my life, there are times when I have my moments, but now I have the tools to interrupt that thought so that it doesn't keep me down. It's a fleeting thought. It just pops in, but then it pops right back out. So, yeah, I'm really interested in those action takers and women who are real serious about doing the work.
What do you need that you don't have to move the needle forward in your business?
What do I need that I don't have to move the needle forward in my business? Would be, what I don't have is a ads budget. That is not something I have ever done. I have relied very heavily on word of mouth. And now that I'm a global brand, word of mouth is not so easy when someone in Canada might not be able to reach someone in the Philippines or in Kenya. So yes, so an ads budget is definitely something that would move the needle for my business.
What do you dream about often that you would like to do that you have not done?
What I dream about often is really, it's a mindset shift for women, and women not holding themselves back, or thinking themselves small. And I wish that all women around the world would step into their power and feel confident and love themselves for who they are, because they are perfectly created to be the person who they are, and to celebrate that and to cherish that and to love themselves unconditionally just as they are. I just envision a world, and I think about this actually a lot more than uh, multiple times a day. And I just envision a world where women around the world are coming together to celebrate one another without jealousies, without judgment, without false assumptions and backstabbing and all of the yuckiness that sometimes happens when a group of women get together. Because we are to be celebrated. We need to love one another, cherish one another, celebrate one another in monumental ways. And that starts within ourselves. And I never want any woman to ever feel like she's less than or not worthy or not valued.
How do you make impact daily?
I make impact daily by responding. That's actually my word for 2023 is to respond. And so I find opportunities I go on forums and I look for questions that people are asking. And I find ways to answer those questions. And if I'm not the person who is qualified to answer those questions, I connect them with the person who is. And I just really believe that if we think about the success of other businesses and helping other people be successful, that, kind of what goes around comes around, if you will. And so I actually spend 4 hours of my day simply responding and trying to answer questions on all the different forums that I'm on.
Talk about your podcast.
So my podcast is The Girl with the Purple Hair Talks Business, and I created it for the sole focus of showcasing women in business. And I tell all of my guests, think of it as about a 20-minute commercial for yourself. It is your time to shine. It is your time to showcase your superpowers and your zone of genius and share with the world, because I do have a global audience, of all of the things that you have to offer as a person in business. And it's a lot of fun.
So I'm going to put you on the spot again in terms of one of your guests that was on the show that just stands out. And I know you have many. So those that are listening is like, why not me? So
Yeah. So one of the guests that stands out is Coach Lee Hopkins, um, is a transgendered man who has overcome significant adversity in their life and has chose to make a real positive impact in the world through their coaching business. And they actually coach people how to have very loving and meaningful platonic relationships. And until I had met Coach Lee, I had never known that there was even coaching for something like that. And I just admire the mission and the courage that it takes for a transgendered man to say, I am who I am. I love myself authentically as who I was perfectly created to be. And now I'm going to teach people how to have those very meaningful platonic relationships so that we can treat each other better as humans. And I'm just, because our values are aligned so much, Coach Lee's episode really stands out to me.
and thank you for sharing that. What's your biggest takeaway from our conversation today? What do you want the audience to leave with?
I want the audience to just know If you have imposter syndrome or you have those self limiting beliefs or those external voices in your head, they're not true. They're absolutely not true. You are a person who deserves to be loved. You are a person of value. You are a person who deserves to be cherished and treated with dignity and respect and celebrated always. So get rid of the negativity in your mind. They're not true and they don't serve a purpose. They serve no good purpose in your life. And so really focus on just knowing, please, you are worthy, you are loved, you are a person of value, and you are to be cherished and celebrated just for being you.
What problem exists in the world today, Angie, that you'd like to solve?
Oh, all the division, just the division between everybody. There's just so much division. It's like the people whose favorite color is blue is fighting with the people whose favorite color is yellow. Like, why are we doing this? I don't understand. Oh my gosh, why the division? At the end of the day, we are all humans. We are all humans, and we were all perfectly created to be exactly who we are. And so what that we don't agree? So what? So what? And what? I mean, in the big scheme of things, so what? I mean, can't we love each other just for being who we are, differences and all? I I just want to change that. Like if I could have a magic wand and just poof, that's the one thing I would change.
Yes. What does self care look like for Angie?
Self care is super important. And my social work background really taught me this because my emotional, mental, and physical health has been challenged over the years. I've actually learned how to walk again twice in my life from a congenital problem that I had, just the way the good Lord made me. And so I absolutely have to have self care. And a salt cave is one of my favorite ways, especially when I live in Northeast Ohio where it's often gray. So going to a salt cave for 90 minutes a week is just absolutely therapeutic. I love nature and just going outside, simply eating lunch on my back porch when it's nice outside and with no electronics is just a really nice break. And yes, and spending time with friends and family. I love to laugh. I love to have fun. So I do a lot of different things because they all serve a different purpose. You know, the salt cave is more of the quiet unwind, spending time with myself, where obviously the friends and family is more cutting up, cutting loose, and having some fun.
Talk about mental wellness and entrepreneurship.
You have to take care of yourself. It literally has to be the number one priority, not working in and on your business, even above your family. And I know a lot of people like they poo poo on that idea, but there's a reason when you jump on an airplane and they tell you to put your oxygen mask on first. That's why. Because if you're not healthy, if you're not breathing, if you're not taking care of yourself, you cannot show up as your best self for your business, for your friends, for your family. And so many times people will put self care in their calendar, and then that's the first appointment that gets canceled whenever they get busy. And I'm going to push back and challenge you on that and say that is an unbreakable appointment. You absolutely must engage in self care. It will help your entrepreneurial journey in monumental ways. You have my guarantee on that.
What breaks your heart?
Whoa, what breaks my heart is, and I might sound like a broken record here, is just how poorly we treat each other as humans. And it's not everybody because there are so many good humans in the world. Um, but I don't understand it. I have a hard time wrapping my head around and understanding why some people just feel the need to treat others poorly. I guess I'll just never understand that. And it just breaks my heart because no one deserves that. No one.
What brings you joy?
What brings me joy is watching people step into their power and love themselves unconditionally. And sometimes I think the people who are treating other people poorly, I think, in my opinion, it's because they really don't love themselves. They really don't like themselves. And so they project that yuckiness, that ugliness onto other people. That's just my opinion. And so it just brings me joy to watch someone make that transformation from the negative into the positive and stepping into their own confidence and loving themselves.
And what can we do to support your business?
Well, the first thing you can do is just be nice to each other. Just treat everyone with dignity and respect. That is the greatest gift that you could ever give me and everyone else. I yes, I hope you hear my heartfelt plea with that. But the other way that you could support my business is just jump over to my website, angiegiltner.com. I'm real easy to find. And if there's anything that resonates with you on there, just reach out and make a connection. I would love to meet you.
What is the best decision you've made as a leader?
The best decision I've made as a leader is to just keep showing up, even if it might be intimidating. Like Dr. Francis, I admire and respect you so much, and I'm humbled by the fact that you have awarded me this privilege of being on your podcast. And yeah, just showing up, um, even when for a minute and just a little quick little thought, I thought I wasn't worthy, and then I quickly had to get rid of that thought because I have to practice what I preach. But yeah, it's showing up.
Angie, if you conducted this interview, what is the one question you would have asked yourself? I want you to ask the question and answer it.
So the one question that I would have asked myself is where, and I only said this really, really briefly in the beginning about moving mountains, because my tagline is together we'll move mountains. And I just genuinely believe that. And it actually comes from biblical principles. And it's, those who have the faith of a mustard seed can move a mountain. And I genuinely believe that with all of my heart. And if we have enough faith, not only for me, my higher power is God, and in myself, because I have been given gifts to share with the world, and I try to be a faithful servant with those gifts. And so yeah, where did together we'll move mountains stem from? That would be the question.
Thank you. We've come to the part of our interview. It's called Rapid Round of Fun. I'm going to ask you a series of questions. I'd like you to give me very quick answers. If there's something you desire not to answer, feel free to say pass. Are you ready for the Rapid Round of Fun?
Yes.
Your ideal car,
My ideal car is a Chevy Silverado,
your favorite color,
purple.
your favorite comfort food,
Anything with peanut butter.
your first job,
Being a farm girl.
you relax doing what,
Swimming.
your favorite singer or rapper,
Terry Clark.
your favorite dance song,
Champion by Carrie Underwood.
what food you eat every week, no matter what.
Chocolate.
Relax, work out, or hit the couch.
Relax.
Angie Giltner, thank you so much for joining us on Black Entrepreneur Experience Podcast. Before we let you go, share with our audience the best way for them to connect with you and to do business with you. And feel free to leave all your social media handles.
Thank you. Well, once again, it's been such an honor and pleasure. I am truly humbled by this gift that Dr. Francis has awarded me today. The best way to make contact with me is angiegiltner.com. That is my website. And then LinkedIn is the best way as well. And once again, you can just find me at Angie Giltner. I'm real easy to find. I'm the girl with the purple hair. You can't miss me and my big smile.
Thank you, Angie. That's a wrap.
Bye.
Bye.